friends. Hank Linderman here at Getting Angry, and what a day it is. Have a look here at the beautiful vision. There it is out on Falls of Rough, here in Falls of Rough, Kentucky. And look how nice that looks. It's getting a little chilly, but today we've got another beautiful day. Notice how the grass is turning brown. It is clearly not, it's not going to be too long before we have seriously cold weather. Tomorrow is the 1st of October. We are closing in on a month away from the strangest election in all of our lifetimes. Hi, everybody. Chris Pritchard's here. He has shared. Thank you, Chris. Bill McNichol is asking everybody to share, so that's great. We really need some help. Cindy Braun Franklin, I know she's going to share. Oh, look at the birds. Mark Andes is here. I know he's going to share. Mark Maselli, Barbara Ticci, Mary Daniel. While there's so many of you here, I'm just going to have to, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to do something very different today. So get a last little look at that. But isn't that beautiful? All right. We're going to do something a little bit different today. And the first thing I want to tell you is I watched, Barbara Ticci says, does anyone have a hangover after last night? And, keep the comments coming because they at least entertain me. But today I'm going to do something differently. I got a couple of people I'm going to be calling, and I've got two Kentuckians, and then I've also got someone that we'll call pretty late in the broadcast, a very unusual person who's been making statements on our weekend fundraisers that we have been doing. So we did our first weekend fundraiser Saturday and Sunday, and that introduced a new character to the American political experience. And Ted Schmalsky will be here towards the end of the broadcast. You're not going to get a look at him, I don't think, at least not this time, but we will definitely call him later. But before then, we'll be talking with a couple of Kentuckian friends of mine about the debate. And any of the rest of you, if you know my phone number, you can send me a text or something. And if not, maybe what we should do is, send me a PM, and I might be able to view it while I'm working, but it could be tough. Anyway, I think it's time for us to start by doing our work, which, the grim reality of dealing with the pandemic is just terrible. So let's have a look at it. I did something, again, unusual, just because it's so frustrating to understand this. Notice that this is from yesterday, and we're looking at USA. Yesterday we had 977 new deaths again. Just terrible. 44,227 new cases. Worldwide, we have passed 1 million deaths worldwide. And something over 20% of the deaths are in the United States, even though we've only got 4% of the population. But President Trump thinks he's done a great job, the best job. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure what to think of this. Hi, Nelson Duffel, we're asking you to share if you can please do that. Cindy Braun's got a great comment. Someone called the debate last night an S show, and someone called it a hot mess and a dumpster fire and a train wreck. And I did see that, but we're going to get to that. Let's eat our vegetables first, which is to stay informed about this, about the pandemic, this national tragedy. It's all it is. So from 2 days ago, remember we said that on the weekends and that the Monday after the weekend, the numbers just don't make sense. 355 deaths and 37,000 new cases. Look at this, though. This is we're back to yesterday. Oh, I take it back. I got to go back. This is from yesterday. This is from 2 days ago. Now we're going to California. I didn't share the right thing. The point I was going to make was that even today, we apparently already have 500 new deaths. So this should only tell you that these figures jump all over the place. Some of it is data collection, and we have a difficult time with it. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, I made a huge error. I want you to look at this for a second. I'm going to run away for an instant. I have to go grab the piece of paper that I printed up. Hang on one sec. I clearly need to yell at someone on my team, but that person is me. So I'll reprimand myself later. Let me get my hearing device in. This is a article from The Spectator magazine, which appears to be pretty conservative. And I wanted you to get a look at this while I read some of these quotes from it. The first presidential debate is the most important, and Joe Biden won it. Remember, I believe these guys are pretty conservative. Biden came into the night with serious questions about his cognitive ability and his energy. Neither was a problem during the debate. In a mudslinging contest like this one, it's hard to look presidential, but he made a reasonable stab at it. He was clearly angry at times, called President Trump a clown at one point, but he stepped back before losing control. Time and again, Biden turned to the camera, not to his opponent, and spoke directly to American voters in a clear, calm voice. He was appealing directly to the undecided voters. I just have to say, if you're undecided, I just don't know what to say to you. If you're undecided, renouncing the most extreme elements of his own party's platform. It's unclear if that stance will hurt him with progressives, but more likely, progressives hate Trump so much they will, even though they're cool to Biden, they're going to vote for him. Trump entered the debate as an underdog, but he repeatedly interrupted Biden, talking past the agreed-upon time limits, which Biden did not do, and attacking the moderator, Fox News' Chris Wallace. Trump underscored what so many independent voters find objectionable about him. Most voters find his hostile bluster offensive. Educated suburban voters are especially unhappy with his behavior, and these are voters that President Trump needs. In order to win re-election. He did nothing to convince them. And worse, his behavior stepped over his own message. Trump's problem, this is very interesting. Trump's problem is a characteristic one. He was determined to win every contested issue, to respond to every attack on him or his record, even if he had to interrupt his opponent or the moderator to do it. That approach not only alienates voters, it misses the larger point. The goal isn't to win each point, it's to win the match. That's why chess grandmasters sometimes sacrifice a pawn. Trump never sacrifices a pawn. Sometimes that leaves the king exposed, and it certainly did this time. The debate format, of course, was a problem for the country and especially for Trump. Over the coming days, the mainstream media will drive home the idea that Trump not only lost, he degraded the office. Biden, by contrast, will be measured for Mount Rushmore. That's a wild exaggeration of what happened on Tuesday night, but it's also to be expected from a media that's now nakedly partisan. They loathe Trump, and the first debate gave them a lot to loathe. Well, look, let's reach out. I want to do some phone calls right now. And like I say, we're doing this a little bit differently. We have never done this before. And I'm going to tell you about the first person we're going to call. And I really like both of these guys that we're going to be speaking with. I like them so much, I'm having a hard time deciding who to start with. But I think I'm going to start with Larry Swartz and see if we can get Larry to pick up. Let's see if we'll hear him.
Hello?
Larry Swartz.
Hello, Hank.
I'm guessing that you have stepped out of your metal building.
Well, actually, I just decided to stay in my home.
Oh, very good.
For the duration, so I have reasonably good reception here considering the remote wilderness in which I live.
The remote wilderness of Garrett County.
It's specifically Buckeye section of Garrett County, yes.
Right. Well, I think I need to put up, I'm going to put up the map of the district and see if everybody can get a look at that. So Garrett County is in. We're a shared district. Let's see. What do you bump up against?
Well, counties within the district, I suppose, would be Mercer, where we share a border with Lake Harrington, Lincoln, just to the south.
Okay, I think.
And of course, north of me is the Kentucky River, and across that lies 6th District territory.
Well, I'm sorry to say this, but there is Garrett County, and you're close to Madison County, and you're looks like you're a little bit east and north of Danville, Kentucky.
That's correct. Yes.
All right. Well, very good. And you're a farmer, and you have been all.
I am. Yes.
Or most of your life.
Well, most of my life.
Yeah.
Yes, 46 years so far.
Now, what did you think of the debate?
Well, full disclosure, I actually did not watch the debate because, among other reasons, I haven't owned a television set since 1973. But I've read quite a bit about it today. I've looked at several news networks. I actually looked at the Fox website, so you don't have to. And then I read a number of blogs, people who commented on it. So without having actually watched it, I think I can say that no real surprises from me because, Trump is a boorish and vulgar human being in his everyday life, and turned out to be just that during the debate last night. So,
well, you said to
no
me
surprises,
earlier,
really.
You said to me earlier you had reasons for not watching the debate besides not owning a television.
Well, there is the actual fact that his voice makes me literally sick. So, I guess I would also say that his voice triggers some anger in me that probably is not healthy for my long-term digestive health. So yeah, I did actually not watch the debate nor listen to it. I suppose it was probably on radio, but I didn't listen to it either. I did give in and watch a few clips of some of the high points, but I guess my response to it would be no real surprises of what I read and of what small portion I saw. I thought Biden did as well as could be expected under the circumstances. And although I've seen a lot of people trashing the moderator today, I think the moderator actually did, given the situation, about as good a job as he could. I mean, he could have, walked over and slapped Trump maybe, but otherwise, beyond that or short of that, he was not going to stop him. Trump's a child emotionally, and has never in all of his life, and he and I are about the same age, been held accountable for anything. And so he wasn't going to be held accountable last night either.
I wondered if it would be okay with you if we added our friend Mike Tederick to this conversation.
It would not be a good conversation without him.
Oh, very good. Okay, so let's call Mike and see if we can get him to join us. One ringy dingy. I know Mike is expecting us. Actually, he's expecting me. I don't know if he's expecting you, Larry, but we'll see.
He may well be on horseback. He typically is.
Hello.
Mr. Tederick.
Hank, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about you. We're live on Facebook, so your usual genteel approach to language and discourse will be suitable.
Do you have a way to bleep Mike if he gets out of control?
I do have a way to. I don't have a way to bleep him. I suppose. By the way, Pam Linderman says to say hello to Larry and to Mike.
Hello,
Hello,
Pam.
Pam.
And Chris Cabali says,
Now wait just a damn minute.
so just as
I will be the very model of probity and circumspection.
very good, very good. Now, Mike, you are also a farmer. Is that correct?
I raise meat, sheep. I'm learning how to farm. The learning curve is steep, but I've always had an interest in agriculture. I keep a horse, and I just got into some meat rabbits, but that's not agriculture. That's hobbyist stuff, I guess.
In your working life, you were a school teacher. Were you in Boyle County as a teacher?
I was in Boyle County, Kentucky. Yeah, and you have to ask me what I taught.
What did you teach, Mike?
Not much.
I also need to explain to everyone who's listening, these two gentlemen, I'm privileged to be part of a text conversation that has been going on for months and months and months and months. And I wake up most mornings to these two guys expressing their opinions. And I thought it would be fun to share some of that. So, Mike, why don't you start off and tell us what comments, what thoughts, what bits of wisdom you have about the so-called debate from last night?
Well, just bear in mind that I'm in a very sober state. I've been climbing over the roof of an A-frame, so I've had a lot of my energy expended. But I would say, first off, if I was Mr. Biden or any of Mr. Biden's handlers, I'd be really disappointed in all the opportunities I missed to field Mr. Trump's insults, bullying, and general mayhem in a better fashion. I'd be very disappointed.
Were there any particular lowlights for you?
No, the lights went off pretty quick, and it stayed awfully dark. And Mr. Biden manfully stumbled through the barnyard muck and delivered, some word salads that made me feel like I know what he's talking about, and I agree. But it just was, in my opinion, not enough. It was awful. That's not to say that I'm, I want to put a feather in Mr. Trump's cap or anything. It was a beating. It was an assault. It was a wholly unpresidential, unchristian, uncivilized exercise in just crude bullying and smearing and false accusations and character assassination and made up stuff, and it was terrible.
Larry, jump in anytime.
Well, Mike and I agree on about 98% of life, but I guess I would just say that unless Biden was going to get down to the level of Trump, it would have been difficult, I think, to not just to challenge what Trump was saying. There's an old saying about when your enemy is making mistakes, don't stop them. That said, I think that that Trump's performance kind of speaks for itself. I like most Americans, I have my finger on the pulse of American life via Facebook, and although I've purged, at least to the best of my knowledge, have purged all Trump supporters from my Facebook page, I have friends who, that would be Facebook friends, I have friends who have not. And so I've seen quite a few very simply stated Trump 2020 Facebook statements today. So I guess that the base got the red meat they were looking for from Trump. I think that his performance once again proved that for the people who are his base supporters, there literally is no bottom. There's no bridge too far, that would turn them against him. So it was a typical Trump performance. As I said a few minutes ago, I'm hoping that if there are subsequent debates, that the format or the rules will change. And if they don't, I foresee just a repeat performance from both guys.
Yeah. I mean, there is discussion of that, but I'm not sure what you can do unless there's literally a mute button, and penalties for a certain amount of interruption. I don't see that happening. And, it seems to me that the debate format has deteriorated since it began in the 60s. And I believe I saw the very first televised presidential debate with soon-to-be President Kennedy and later to be President Nixon. So, but since then, I can't think of any wonderful debates. I think the format is a problem.
Well, being somewhat older than you, Hank, I certainly did watch the Nixon and Kennedy debates. I was 15 years old that year. And it was an actual debate format. In recent years, the debates have been at least somewhat policy oriented. The guys and the girls, in the case of our should have been President Clinton, would spend some time elaborating on their policy plans and initiatives. They take the occasional shot at each other, as Trump did to Clinton in 2016. But the debates between Obama and his two opponents were at least relatively civil. So I think that the format itself, it may make good theater and TV. It doesn't actually make very good politics in terms to make decisions.
I gotta play one of my
and I guess one last thing I would say about that is
tunes.
It seems that both candidates, or both campaigns at least, are reaching out to the undecideds. I have some remarks that I can't use here today about what I think about undecided voters because they're much too profane. But if after 4 years or 5 years, actually, of Donald Trump, you are still undecided, then I think some remedial education would be in store for you.
Mike, you were going to say something?
Yeah, the all that's true about the debates, and all that is true about Mr. Trump's character and modus operandi, and I think that because of all of that, it behooved Mr. Biden to be prepared in a way that, admittedly would be awfully difficult. But he, for instance, just as when the bullying started, which I think you could reasonably expect, I think he probably ought to have had, wait a second, Mr. Trump, Mr. Wallace, please, this is a public debate where the nation is watching. I would hope that the president could avoid schoolyard bullying, incessant interruption, extreme impoliteness, and
but schoolyard bullying is his style.
Well, but you got to say that. You've got to point that out when you're being bullied. You either put your tail between your legs and yelp, or you ignore it, which, I guess my IQ's not high enough to do that. But I think Mr. Biden had a dozen opportunities where he could have when Hunter Biden came up. Now, he did have one comeback. Look, my family is, just like your family is off limits. But there were a dozen opportunities, on the issue of COVID to explain that this is a public health issue. This is the science of epidemiology. This is medicine. And there is, if you are, human beings have been dealing with plagues for thousands of years. There's a well-developed routine that science and medical professionals are certain about that will reduce the number of cases, and wearing masks and doing the kinds of things that Joe Biden and Dr. Fauci have all recommended, and that you, Donald Trump, disparaged or discounted or undermined. There were a dozen times where a man smarter than I am could have and should have, in my opinion, been ready to take on the insanity. And it didn't happen. And
By the way, I want to share a couple of comments that we've gotten while we're discussing this. And on...
Is one of them, Mike, calm down?
Say what?
Is one of them, Mike, calm down?
No, not yet. Not yet. Although, Mike, this is called getting angry. And we say to people, we do have to keep it somewhat under control. But
I'm ready.
Okay, no, it's all good. So let's see. Barbara Tichy said they need to mute the mics, and Kristen Wilcox said, "I say give the moderator a taser." There's a thought. Maybe a yellow flag for fouls from Lisa Oakley. Vonda Kay was a little critical of you, Larry, and I'm going to defend you right here because I think Vonda missed the point that you made, that while you didn't watch the debate, you did watch some of the playback of parts of it. And Vonda, to be honest, I don't know any human being that made it, that wasn't on a payroll, that made it all the way through that debate. In other words, what's his name? The moderator, Chris Wallace, made it all the way through the debate, but he was working. He was getting paid.
On the topic of masks, Hank, of masks, one of the things I read just an hour or so ago was that, the debate itself, and I wasn't aware of this, I knew it was in Cleveland, but the location for the debate was Case Western Reserve University, right. Where there is a large medical center, and the room was actually in the medical center, and they have a rule there about, you don't enter or stay in the medical center without a mask, and that a woman who was, in a lab coat uniform, a doctor, approached the entire Trump delegation, asking them first to put on masks and offering them masks if they didn't have one, and they, to a person, refused. So the visual image, which again I didn't see, the visual image there was the entire Biden side of the room was wearing masks, and the entire Trump side of the room was not wearing masks. Oh,
that's not true.
Which we, of course, see mirrored out in the real world.
No, his wife walked in with a mask on. No, everyone in the room had to wear a mask. There was no option. Mm-hmm. Cindy Braun Franklin says that Chris Wallace appeared greatly relieved when it was over. So, well, look.
I did see one thing this morning that said that there was a GoFundMe campaign to raise money to pay Wallace's bar tab last night.
Oh, goodness. Well, all of our bar tabs, we are all, Larry, I think I made the comment to you that I have had to stop drinking because it was getting me nowhere. And it was getting me nowhere fast.
I had to start.
Say what?
I had to start.
Oh, good. Well, I had a beer this week, but that's the first bit of alcohol I've had in about 3-4 weeks. And but I'm pretty sure the entire country went through a difficult period, especially with the drinking games. And maybe I'll share the drinking bingo game based on what would be said in the debate. You know, there'd be no way a human being could survive that debate if they were having to drink each time certain things were said. Well, look, I want to thank you guys for doing this, and I hope you will come back. And I want to point out to everybody, Larry has really committed to the idea of President Trump leaving office in that he has stopped shaving. How long have you stopped shaving?
11 months so far.
11 months. So we're going to have to get a picture before you and Mike come back. And so that is true commitment. And you definitely look like one of the Smith brothers from the Cough Drops. Do you remember the Cough Drops?
I'm going for the self-reliance, Thoreau's friend, name escapes me right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going for that look. He was part of the 19th century, where I'm firmly rooted.
You got it, brother. You got that look. You don't need to go. You got it.
Yeah.
And Mr. Tederick, are you going to take the challenge maybe and see if you can make it through the election without shaving?
I was thinking of without bathing, but I can do both.
All right. Well, I hope you guys will come back. It's really fun for me to have you all talking, and it looks like people enjoyed having you here. So we're going to do this again, maybe once a week, if you all can bear it.
Well, I do have a quick thing about my own teaching career. Mike said he taught not much, which I'm sure isn't true because I've met a few of his former students. But I'm a Berea College graduate, and some years ago I was at a meeting with a bunch of academics, although I was a farmer then as well, and I had on a Berea College T-shirt. And so one of the women in the room assumed I was a Berea College professor and came over and sat down by me at the lunch table and asked me, what do you teach? And I said, patience.
That is fascinating. I had not necessarily, you are certainly a resilient human being. And now I'm going to re-examine my picture of you. By the way,
well, my wife will tell you that, patience is required to successfully deal with me.
Well, so that's the way you teach, is to teach others they need patience.
I teach others patience. I personally have none.
Okay. Larry Schott, by the way, said, are you thinking, he thinks you're thinking of Emerson.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Oh, all right.
Ralph Waldo Emerson. Yes.
Ralph Waldo Emerson. Okay.
Sometimes when you attain this advanced age, the memory becomes very short term. As in, what did I have for breakfast?
Yes. What are we talking about?
What are we talking about? Exactly.
Yes.
Well, you guys are going to be back, and I'm going to get appropriate pictures so that everybody has a visual. What I ended up doing was showing them the live picture of the lake while you all were talking, and a little picture of me, but it's much more entertaining to get your all's faces on this. So thank you all so much, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and talk with us.
Hank for Congress.
All right.
Yeah, Hank for Congress. Thank you, Hank. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Take care, Mike. Take care, Larry. Thank you.
Bye.
Well, that wasn't much fun. That was wonderful. Well, we have one other person that we're going to call, and before we do this, I need to explain, we've been doing our fundraiser, our virtual fundraiser on the weekends, and we've had some incredible performances. It's a lot of fun. We've been raising some money for the campaign, which is important in the final push. But one of the people who showed up with a video to be part of the campaign is a young man named Ted Schmaltzky. So we're just going to have his voice today, but I'll get a picture of him, and I really have no idea how this will go. So I warn you ahead of time. Listen with some generosity in your hearts, with some kindness in your hearts. And here we go. Let's call Ted Schmaltzky, see if we can get him on the phone.
Hillcrest 95555. Smolsky residence, Ted speaking. May I help you?
Ted, it's Hank Linderman. I'm running for Congress in Kentucky's 2nd District, and we go back a ways.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, Hanky, hey, little Hanky, all grown up and running for Congress, and it's wonderful to talk to you, and thank you for remembering me.
Well, do you want to explain how we know each other?
I really do not know, but I certainly can for you, Hank. Many years ago, and too many for me to recall, I lived down the street from little Hanky and little Gordy, and I was dear friends with Gus and Jackie and the Linderman family. And I would see you playing in the street, and this is going to be a long story. Do we have time for the whole thing?
Can you do the short version?
We were neighbors.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Ted, did you happen to watch any of the debate last night between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden?
I will tell you the honest to God truth, Hank. I saw most of it. And I was a little bit delayed because I was on the phone talking to voters in the 2nd District of the great state of Kentucky.
Oh, that's right. You were part of the.
Yeah.
You were part
yes,
of because last night we did our first phone banking session.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's true.
And how did that go for you? Did you enjoy it?
A lot of hang-ups. I said, hello, Ted Smolsky, how the hell are you? I was a little off script. That's not something that your campaign wanted me to say, but I play it straight, as you know. And I'd say, how the hell are you? And then the next thing I knew, I was saying, hello. But
did you talk to anybody? Did you get through to anybody?
Yes, I did.
All right.
I got through to a few people, and they said that they had been gerrymandered out of even knowing that Congress even knew who they were anymore. Damn it! And I would say I knew Jerry, and that the fact that he's been down in Kentucky really bothers me.
Well, we are looking at a picture right now of the map of the 6 districts in Kentucky, and the 1st and the 2nd are very unusual. The 4th is not too great looking either. The 1st district, which is Western Kentucky, goes almost, it's all the way west, but then goes almost as far east as the 2nd district, which is Central Kentucky, and the 1st kind of goes underneath. It's a bit of a mess. By the way,
I see Paducah. I see Paducah there.
Oh, very good. Okay.
I have a fond memory of playing with some of my friends in Paducah.
Oh, very good.
But that was a game of rummy, and you probably don't even know that, but that's all right. Go ahead.
By the way, some of the folks who have heard you on the weekend with the fundraiser are saying hello. Yes. Cindy Braun says to say hello to you.
Well, hello, Cindy. I'm honored. I'll tell you, Hank, quite honestly, it's gone viral. And I keep telling Mary, it's like, don't be jealous. I hardly even know Cindy and these people that seem to love me so much. And I'm up to like 7-8 views on Facebook right now.
Wow. That's really great, yes. Ted. Well, and I really appreciate the videos that you're making. And I hear you've made a few new ones for this weekend.
Yeah. Yes, with a surprise guest.
Oh. Do you want to tell us anything about the surprise guest?
Well, if you can keep a secret, it's Jack Wessel from the Leon Russell Band.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that will be fun. That'll be great to hear from Jack.
Yes, but don't tell anybody. That'll be our secret. So edit this out when it's broadcast, so we'll keep it a secret from Cindy and the rest of the fans.
All right. Okay, very good. Very good. All right. Well, Ted, thanks so much. I'm sure we're going to be speaking to you again. I'm so glad you took the time to take a call and that you were helping with the phone banking. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and I'm sure I will hear from you before the weekend.
Yes, and just as a quick tip, because I did watch most of the debate last night, I will tell your fans to please go visit wikipedia.org. Visit Wikipedia. And I'm telling you, you'll enjoy it as I have, to put in the term professional wrestling terms, because whether it was the 5 moves of doom, the tweener, the bonzo gonzo, the schmoz, these are terms of Donnie Danger versus Bad Boy Biden, and that's what we saw last night. We didn't see a debate. We saw professional wrestling, and I'm sick of it, but back to you, Hank.
All right. Well, Ted, look, have a great day, and thanks so much for being here.
God bless you. Godspeed. Stay safe out there.
All right. I appreciate you, Ted. Thank you. All right. Well, that was Ted Schmaltzky. And yes, one of the things we've been doing is we've begun phone banking. And so any of you who'd be willing to help with phone banking, it's pretty fun. You just need a computer and a telephone. It can be a landline. It can be a cell phone. And you sign into a website. And you make a phone call to the website, and it automatically dials for you. And it's kind of fun talking to people. So I did that for about 2 hours last night as well, and it was tremendous fun. And it's one of the ways we can reach out to voters. So I would like to ask you all for help. Also, as always, we're asking you to share, which you all know how to do that. Alexandra Thomas shared. Thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate it. We're getting ready. We're getting ready to do, and Cindy says she's waiting for her email instructions. Cindy, your email bounced back as the wrong email. So I've either typed it wrong or something. So please do me a favor and send it to me in the message again, or I'll double check it. But do me a favor and send that to me, and we'll get you involved again. So Cindy was meant to be part of it, but this was our first one, and we had a couple of small glitches. Anyway, thank you all for being here. This is the beginning of the end, the beginning of the last month of the campaign running for Congress here. And it's, I think we're facing a moment in our history that's extremely important, that we show up to vote. Kentuckians, I hope you remember, you have until October 5th to register to vote. After October 5th, it's too late. You can go online to govoteky.com. You can check that you're registered. You can request an absentee ballot. And I believe you can vote in person in most counties starting October 18th. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to vote in person on October 18th or sometime shortly after that, depending on lines. I'll be voting here in Grayson County. Anyway, tomorrow, of course, let's see. Tomorrow we have
Greg Adams, good Dr. Adams, ask Dr. Greg.
Greg will be back. I'm not sure what we will be talking about. I kind of like to leave it up to him. And he's really a gift to us. And anyway, so that's it. I'm going to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your help. Thanks for your contributions. Thanks for just showing up. October 13th is when voting begins. According to Jim Porter, in-person voting occurs October 13th in Kentucky. All right. Thank you all for being here. It's going to be great. You know I love you. Be good.